What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone. Presented by Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. How about it, y'all? Tigers do it. They polish off a 12-0 season in emphatic fashion. They beat A&M 50-7, hold A&M to under 200 yards of total offense. The Tigers' offense got started early and never slowed down. There was a lull there in the third quarter, and then, obviously at the end of the game, they were just playing out the string. But what a day for LSU. What a day for Joe Burrow. What a day for Tiger fans. Awesome. Let's go through it. We'll go through the game. We'll go through your questions. We'll go through all the scenarios. I'm hitting the share button. So y'all please do me a solid. Do the same if you would. Hit the share. We're going to roll. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Let's see. Let's say some good mornings. And y'all, as if you're new on weekends, especially after LSU games, the comments tend to go faster. So if I miss your comment, my apologies. I do the best I can to get to all or as many as I can. But if I miss you, I'm sorry. I'll do my best. All right, let's see. Mike Gravois, Cortland, Jacob, good morning. Hey, Cole Pierce, John Call, Jason Rivas, Dale Broussard, enjoyable beatdown last night. It was that. When LSU got up 28-0 and 31-0, it certainly was enjoyable to see that graphic on the screen. About 5 minutes ago before halftime, and the total yardage was like 324 to 26. It was like, oh, hey, committee, is that complete enough for you? Right. On many levels, that was enjoyable. Getting right against A&M in a big way. And then also to have the defense flex the way they did to finish 12-0, to have Burrow get the passing yardage record, to tie the passing touchdown record, which he'll break next week. Yeah, awesome, man. Zachary Berry, Kevin Graham, Brandon Atchison, Matt, please tell me you heard Dabo's rant. While Jordy and I were doing Whiskey and Wine, I saw it on TV. I did not hear it, so I don't know what he was ranting about. AJ Holland, is Jordy still sprawled out on a pool float? He is not. Jordy caught an Uber or a Lyft and headed home after the show last night. Breezy Burrow jersey was the best moment. It was great. And for those who heard us last night on Whiskey and Wine, some of the stuff I may repeat, so apologies if I do, but or if you've heard it. But I don't know many senior day moments that I can recall. Like I do remember, Kevin Falk coming out of the tunnel on senior day. I do remember, making it a point to be there for that, for Glenn Dorsey in 07. But I don't know that there's many senior day moments that you remember. The Joe Burrow jersey is something that we'll talk about forever. There's so many things from the season that we'll talk about forever, but that Burrow jersey is certainly one that we will talk about forever. And a very cool thing for him to have the foresight to do. And yeah, it was really cool. David Pedigo, Jamie Fitch, hey Cheryl, good morning. Pat Huseman, good morning. Rami Kasem, Charlie Cavell, Bob Kubrick, Kirk, what's up, dude? James Pittman, Sherry McDonald, good morning. I barely swept. Tiger insomnia is a thing. I was getting in bed around 1 a.m., and that's when Drew woke up, because my kid actually does have insomnia. So put him in the bed with us, and he fell asleep at some point. I know I did. Let's see. Carl, it was great to see A&M get curb stomped. Glad to see 50 points. I was hoping for 50 as well. My score prediction was 48-24. I picked 48-24 with A&M adding a late touchdown, because I didn't think it would be that close. Defense even exceeded my expectations. We'll go through some of the stuff from the game. Luis Salama, Brandon English, just enjoying the moment. You should. When you go back to through the poll era, through the AP poll era, this is only the third time that LSU's finished the regular season undefeated. And you'd have to go all the way back to 1908 for the fourth. So, man, this is enjoy this. It's just, I know it happened. So you think you went 1908 to 1950, you went 50 years. And then from 58 to 2011, you went 53 years. You went 50 years, then 53 years, and then 8 years, So just because we saw it in 2011 doesn't mean it's going to happen again in 8 years, And 2011 didn't finish the job. So here's hoping this crew can. Ryan Amos, Blake Dayrees, or Emmy, I don't know. Charlie, last night in Tiger Stadium was everything I'd hoped it would be. Glad you got to go, man. That's awesome. Adrian Jean, total domination. John Boudreaux, good morning. Has the house turned into Christmas Village yet? A few little odds and ends still to go, but Erica stayed up late last night. She's like, I'm just finishing this. I'm finishing. So she did. Our house looks like Santa's workshop. Blaze and Gill, good morning. Hey, bud. So we'll go. What?
Almost there.
Okay, almost there. Jeremy Aldridge. Justin Jones teared up a bit when he came out in the Burrow jersey. Drew Hurst, TK Brown, Mark Allen, Jeff McKithen, good morning. Right up there, Donkey. Tyler Kelly, Alden Cartwright. What's up, y'all?
Hey, Chris.
We are going to go see Christy. Yep, we sure are. Jeremy Hoskins, what's up, dude? Tony Cobb, Pat Email. All right, y'all, let me get into some of what I saw from the game, and then we could certainly talk scenarios and all that stuff. Hi, baby. Hi. Hey, Drew. Drew. Calico. You do it. After Dad's show, we're going to go to Albertsons and see Christy. Okay. I love that LSU came out on fire when A&M won the toss and deferred. I was like, "You're stupid. You're down. You're down 7-0." Sure enough, first play of the game, they get the personal foul, hitting Burrow late on the horse collar. They hit Jamar Chase for a 33-yarder, and then Clyde scored the touchdown to go up 7-0 like that. 2 minutes and you're down. The LSU forced a punt on A&M's first possession, went right down the field, scored again. Through 2 drives, LSU had had 8 first downs and 2 touchdowns through 2 drives. I thought Caleb on Chasson was awesome. I thought he made himself a bunch of money. Between the Alabama game and this game, I think Caleb on Chasson put enough on film where NFL teams are going to go, Ty Davis Price, spot duty, 2 drives, but was super effective. I was good to see. And I loved first drive of the second quarter. LSU was deep in A&M territory, 4th and 1, didn't even hesitate. And Price was in the game. They didn't even hesitate. Not only did they not hesitate to go for it, they gave him the ball right side. So, man, they trust him. They're out there running the full offense with Ty Davis Price, and that was really cool to see. Some sloppy penalties in the second half. I thought for the most part they let him play. But Burrow got hit a little too much for my liking. But credit, so their defensive front, like with Matabiki, and also Mike Elko, I thought made a good adjustment after he was bringing pressure and Burrow was beating the pressure. Then they started to play back a little bit, play coverage, and you started to see some of those coverage sacks. But please excuse the jingle bells. That's Drew's Jingle Bell Elmo toy. They sacked Burrow 4 times. It's 7 tackles for loss. So they got some pressure on him, and it was a nice adjustment by Elko. But then LSU countered by going to a short passing game, and that's when you saw Burrow in the second half get the record. They started throwing the ball. They had Clyde flexed out as a receiver, and they started throwing underneath stuff to Clyde, catching runs, Chase. There was the play. I'll say this, and you'll remember it, where he threw a ball at Thad Moss, which was nearly intercepted down around the A&M 10-yard line. When you look at the replay, it's because the A&M guy pulled the back of Moss's jersey. You could see the jersey pull. It's like, anyway, 50-7, not much to complain about. Dale Broussard, Matt, do you remember chastising me when we signed Joe Burrow? No, I don't, Dale. I read 500 comments on here a day. You think I remember our comment from 2 years ago? And anyone that, if you go back 2 years or a year and a half when Burrow signed, Dale, anyone that could have even attempted to predict this, you would have been insane. You would have been nothing but a fanboy homer hoping for the best, because there was nothing in LSU's offensive history or Joe Burrow's offensive history to suggest this would happen. And you, Dale, and anybody else had never even seen Joe Burrow play a snap of football. Now, what I said when they signed Burrow was, absolutely, you take it. Why would LSU be so callous to think that they couldn't use help at quarterback? I mean, I'd take any transfer at quarterback. I remember talking about Everett Golson when he was at Notre Dame. People, I don't want Everett Golson. I'm like, you have Anthony Jennings. That guy went undefeated and went to a national championship game. You don't want that experience? So, man, he's exceeded anybody's realistic expectations. Even year 1 to year 2. He was solid a year ago. But, man, he committed himself to being a great quarterback, and he was this year, man. Robert Gremion, Kelly Gross, Jason Aguilar, Brian Horvath, Brad Vicknair. I think Klatt is still holding his ballot. That's referring to Joel Klatt, who went on Twitter this week and said everybody should hold their ballot for the Heisman until after the championship games, because Chase Young shows up in the biggest games. And Chase Young threw up a bagel yesterday. No tackles, no sacks. I guess now they'll stump for Justin Fields. I don't know. Whatever. Joe Burrow has the Heisman. It's over. Just go to Atlanta and do what you've done all year, and you'll win in a landslide. A.J. Holland was hoping the haka would have been done on the field. Would have been another memorable moment. Brian Ashcraft, good morning. Jennifer Allen, Danny Braywick, atmosphere was amazing. Great to be a Tiger. Lawrence Corbin, Brandon Atchison. I heard Memphis called Bama to schedule a game next year since they can't beat any team named the Tigers. Saw that. Yes, they lost to Clemson. They lost to LSU. They lost to Auburn. Ted Campiso, good morning. Patrick Dorsey, Ryan Shalesi, good morning. Danny Porsche. My thinking is LSU moves back to 1 because the playoff committee didn't want Bama at 4 playing 1 LSU, but Bama gone. Now, Danny, the committee wasn't looking at Bama LSU. And if anything, if you're the committee, you'd rather those two teams play in the semis because you don't want an all-SEC national championship. That's what I keep hearing. Like, that's what people were missing with that. The thing that they wouldn't want would be an all-SEC national championship game. I mean, two SEC teams in would be terrible. That could happen if Georgia beats LSU. But anyway, I'd love to think LSU did enough last night to get back to 1 because it was the defensive piece which was the difference. In Ohio State, he gave up 400 yards and 30 points to Michigan. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the committee will still have Ohio State number 1 after they put up 50 on Michigan. But next week, Ohio State plays Wisconsin in a rematch, and what if Wisconsin beats Ohio State this time? I think if LSU goes next week and beats Georgia, and I've said this all along, and you would have top 10 wins over Texas, Auburn, Florida, Bama, and Georgia. You have 5 of them. If that's not enough on your resume to deserve the number 1 spot, and you're just going to give it to someone because of eye test, I mean, it's already impossibly broken, but there should be riots. Not literal riots, but everyone with a platform, social media, anywhere else should be ranting about that. Now, a lot of y'all are cracking Bama. Honestly, y'all, like I'm always very happy to see Alabama lose. It was funny because we were in studio yesterday doing pregame, and I just got finished explaining that I, for LSU, wanted Bama to win because I think your best win needs to hold up. So, like, if Bama had won that game, that would have been, an 11-1 Bama that would have remained top 5. And I think you need that win in the current standing. So now Bama's going to drop. So now LSU's best looking win is going to be Florida, who will move up. Now, I have a chance to play Georgia, but I'm assuming Bama drops below Florida. I could be wrong. But even watching that yesterday, so I got to explain, like, I think as much as I don't want to cheer for Bama, I think I need Bama to win to have LSU's best win still intact and looking, pristine. And like the first play of the game, Auburn's got the ball and getting around, and I'm going, go, go, go. It's just in me. I cannot cheer for Bama. So I understand the conflict. Eric Collins, Corey Messina, what's up? Courtney Storer, David Childers, good morning. John Paul Thibodeau, good morning. Definitely a dominant performance in all stages of the game. James Tyrone, what's up? Garrett McIntyre, double-edged sword. When they brought the blitz, Clyde could stay back to block. Slipping him out the backfield is a huge weapon. Clyde's a beast. But there were even times when they brought the blitz and LSU was empty. I think Mike Elko did a nice job adjusting to what LSU was doing, which is why you saw that lull into the second quarter into third, where LSU kicked a field goal and punted. That's when the last possession of the first half for LSU was where Burrow got sacked. Then they had the delay game. They got sacked again. Those were covered sacks. It was a good adjustment by Elko. Then LSU came out in the second half and started the underneath stuff. But they would have had a drive continue, but for the blindside block that was called on Deculus, which I thought was absurd. You all saw the play, but I don't know what you do anymore in football. Like, I don't know what you do on those plays. I don't know what you do whenever someone's reversing field and a player is what do you do? I think you're literally just supposed to stand there, like, just get in their way. I don't know what you do, man. But that killed that drive, because that was the drive where Burrow set the record on the short pass to Clyde. And then they had 2nd and 5, and Burrow went left, came all the way back right to the sideline, spun back in, got the first down, and that was the play where they called Deculus. So it moved LSU back to 2nd and 20. And Jefferson slipped on that play and actually lost 2 yards. And they had 3rd and 22, ran a screen and punted. By the way, another instance of LSU's turf sucking. Jefferson slipped on that play. Delpit on his interception, his leg came out from underneath him. Otherwise, you get the ball at the 10-yard line on that return, but it's all the way back at the 40 instead. Cade York, by the way, 2 50-yarders, a 50 and a 51. It was awesome. But yeah, LSU's turf monster is a legit living thing. Sean Lee, my wife is a Clemson fan. Help me convert her. She wants a national championship. Oh, he's going. Brian Jones, is Clyde a first rounder if he leaves? Maybe, Brian. So yesterday on pregame, we talked to Mike Detillier, who said that first.
Albert.
Hey, listen. After Dad's show, we will go for a ride in Daddy's car to Albertsons. Okay. After Dad's show. Okay. And we'll go see Christy. Yep. Okay. So, talking to Mike Detillier yesterday on pregame, he said Clyde's leaving. He certainly made it seem as though that decision has been made. I think he said Clyde ain't coming back, was his exact word, definitive. So, I think that conversation's probably been had. Mike did share that he talked to one NFL owner that has Clyde as a first-round pick. He said there's a handful of teams that have him as the best running back on their board. Mike currently grades him as a second-round pick. So, look, man, if you're Clyde, you're not getting out of round 2. You go, considering shelf life of running backs, wear and tear on the body, and just the fact that next year, this offense is losing a lot. So, I mean, your stock's never been higher, you go. So, I think Clyde's going. It depends who's picking. He's got a good shot, I think, of being a first-round pick. If not first, it's hard to imagine getting out of round 2. Justin Jones. Jamar Chase should be in the Heisman race, too. Joe has locked it, though. It's so hard for receivers, just the reality. Derek Bordelon, good morning. Kyle Lofton, Georgia doesn't have it. Watching them is like watching 2014 LSU. A more talented 2014 LSU, but yeah. 2014 LSU had Jennings at quarterback. I think Fromm's a better player. Certainly there's a correlation with the running game with, Fournette that year as a freshman, DeAndre Swift. I'll tell you the bigger problem that Georgia has in this ballgame this week. And I think LSU's a field goal favorite. I saw it open up yesterday. I think that's going to climb. Georgia has a good defensive front. I don't think they can roll with LSU's receivers on the back end. I remember DeAndre Baker was the Thorpe Award winner last year. He's now in the NFL. But Georgia can't throw the ball. They just can't. They lost their top 5 pass catchers from a year ago. And their best receiver this year is Lawrence Cager, his grad transfer from Miami. He's hurt, won't play in the game. And then what's George Pickens, the freshman who's our second leading receiver, got in a fight yesterday against Georgia Tech, and he's suspended for the first half. I don't know how Georgia keeps pace. Matt Anderson, Jesse Romero, Kyle Gunnels, good morning. Robert LeBlanc, 1 or 2 doesn't matter. I think we win out. We're good. So, Robert, we'll go over this again, though, man, but the reason 1 and 2 does matter this year is when you're the 1 seed, you get to determine where you play the first game, and the difference this year between 3 and 4 is massive. Like, it's literally the difference between playing Clemson or Oklahoma or Utah. You know what I mean? So it matters. Like, would you rather play Utah in Atlanta or play Clemson in Arizona? You know what I mean? So it matters, man. It absolutely matters. Matt Bryant, what's up, Brian Wynn? Trivia, do you realize Coach O will beat the top SEC East team back-to-back years? I got to go do it this week, but yeah, I mean, they put it on Georgia last year in Baton Rouge. I saw also yesterday that Georgia LSU is the second most common SEC championship game matchup. I guess it's Bama Florida would be the other. That happened like the first 6 years of the event, but I guess that's the other. Cole, to me, there's no way Jamar Chase doesn't win the Biletnikoff. I probably agree. The thing, though, Cole, to keep in mind is a lot of times those awards go to guys who had established themselves prior. So a guy like CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma is the more well-known name. Chase deserves it. There's no question. I think Chase, best offense, best receiver in the best offense, and has had the best year and all that. But and CeeDee Lamb did miss missed 1 game this year because of injury. But I think it's the same with Grant Delpit. Like, Delpit deserved to win the Thorpe last year. He might win it this year. The sort of name recognition thing. It happened with Glenn Dorsey. Glenn's junior season was better than his senior season, but everyone knew who Glenn Dorsey was, so he won all those awards. Same with Patrick Peterson. Peterson's sophomore season was better than his junior season, but he won the Thorpe as a junior. Sherry McDonald, Ohio State did not look like a complete team against Michigan. I used complete many times yesterday on Twitter, adding the playoff committee. That's what happens when you get into subjective commentary. It's not just about winning games. Brian Casebon, good morning. Jeremy Hoskins, I don't know how much credit they're going to give for the Texas game, seeing how much they declined over the season. I understand that. And there's 2 ways to look at that. Obviously, you can look at the rankings when they happened, because I think it's also fair to say what would Texas be ranked if if they had beaten LSU in week 2? How different is their season? That's a fair what if. It's why when you go back and you look at rankings in hindsight, like 50 years from now, people will look at that LSU Texas game and not look at how Texas finished the season. They'll just see that LSU went on the road and be the top 10 Texas team, right? I mean, that's why you look at what the ranking is when you play them, because the outcome of that game is going to affect the ranking. But I do understand your point, and you're right.
Go see Chris.
We will go see Christy after Dad's show. Daddy and Drew will go for a ride in Daddy's car too, and see and see Christy. I hope she's there. Let's see. Brian Wynn, Herman and Fisher both went 7-5. Oliva managed to get the right guy. You know, the thing I'll say, Brian, is the two aren't mutually exclusive. You know, clearly Ed fixed the mistakes he made early in his time at LSU and has done awesome and has laid the foundation out through recruiting as well to continue this success. It's all like that can exist, and it can also exist that both those guys inherited tougher rebuilds. You know, Ed inherited a program that was 9-3. You know, like Herman, for example, inherited a 3-9 program. Won a Sugar Bowl in year 2. Disappointing this year for sure. I wish they'd done better, obviously, for LSU's resume's sake. And then you look at A&M. Jordan and I were talking about this last night. You know, next year A&M, Clemson rotates off, Colorado rotates on, Georgia rotates off, Vanderbilt rotates on. If everything else is the same, they're 9-3. If they manage to beat Auburn, Bama, or LSU, they get to double-digit wins. You know what I mean? So, it's just very hard to draw sweeping conclusions from a one-year sample. That's not how you build a program. And so I guess my point is, like, don't be distracted by it. Just enjoy what you're watching right now. Like, the LSU football program has produced the single greatest passing offensive season in the history of the SEC. Like, let that sink in for a minute. Not Tim Couch with Tal Mummy's offense, not Peyton Manning, not Tim Tebow, not any of those Florida offenses, Danny Werfel, Heisman winners, not Cam Newton, like none of Urban Meyer's teams, these great offensive teams and these great quarterbacks in the history of the league, none of them have done ever what Joe Burrow and LSU did this year. Like, just enjoy, like, marinate in that. Because next year Burrow's gone. Burrow's gone, Damian Lewis is gone, Adrian McGee's gone, Clyde's probably gone, Justin Jefferson's probably gone, Thad Moss will have a decision to make, Lawrence is gone, Fajoko's gone, Chasson's gone, Fulton is gone, Delpit's gone. Like, guy like Jacob Phillips has a decision to make, Jacoby Stevens has a decision to make. Like, you're going to look very different next year, you know? It's going to be a very, very different challenge next year for LSU. So don't think about that or what, like, live here. Like, live here because this is special, man. Like, soak up all of what you're seeing right now because we've literally, like, it's not hyperbole. We've literally never seen it. Joe Burrow is having the single greatest season in the history of the SEC, which for a fan base that has seen its fair share of Jordan Jefferson and Chris Garrett and Steven Rivers and Anthony Jennings and Brandon Harris. I mean, y'all. I mean, God bless him. How often did T-Bob try to convince all of us that Danny Etling was a good quarterback? Like, that was the argument. Danny Etling's a good quarterback. Oh, really? Look at what you're looking at right now. Like, that was the standard that LSU fans were by which LSU fans were judging quarterbacks. I mean, man, just enjoy what you're seeing right now. Mike Gravel, aren't they supposed to redo the whole field next year? Mike, it seems like they do it every year, and you end up with the same stuff. LSU has a problem at Tiger Stadium, and they've explained this. The Tiger Stadium's field does not get enough sunlight because of all of the decks. The grass is not exposed to sunlight long enough for enough hours in the day to be healthy. And they try, and it gets trampled on, it's painted, and it's a mess, man. The turf is a mess at Tiger Stadium. That's why I've said I'd love for them to go to field turf. Some of y'all think that's abhorrent, but hang on a second. All right. Anyway, I've said I'd love for LSU to go to field turf. You never have to worry about inclement weather making it a slosh pit. You don't have to worry about the slippage like you're dealing with. But I say that, and I get, football was meant to be played on grass, blah, 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 blah. And when football was founded, they didn't use face masks either. We found a better way. Anyway, I digress. Charlie Gale, let's see. John Boudreaux, Clyde to the Patriots. Perfect fit, connection to Falk. He would fit there. Any word on Swift's shoulder? Not that I've seen this morning, Arthur. Anna Sheck Snyder, good morning, Darren. Six Killer Matt. Prayers up to the linebacker who was sniped in the north end zone. I tweeted that video. Look, the guys flopping to get an extra timeout, I hope that stops in college football. And what I would like to see them do is do what the NBA does. The NBA instituted flopping fines. If you flop, they go back and review video. If they determine you flopped, you're fined. I would like to see the SEC begin fining athletic departments if their players do that. If you fake an injury to stop the game, that you need to be fined. And that will stop it very quickly. Because if athletic directors have to start taking money and writing checks to the league office because their players are flopping and taking extra injury timeouts, that'll stop in a hurry. It'll march right down to the coach's office and say, I'm not writing these checks anymore. Stop it. Ryan Dozar, Matt, did you get any food from the Double D when you went down to the La Rose, my hometown? I didn't go down to La Rose, Ryan, but good looking out on the Double D. I'll have to check it out. Jean-Paul Thibodeau, Jake Fromm has maybe 2 passing games over 300 yards. Missing their top 2 receivers will kill them. They're I don't know if LSU's going to win by 30, John Paul, but I think Georgia is going to play a very contrasting style to LSU. They're going to try to play good defense, pressure Burrow, limit LSU's possessions, play ball control, shorten the game. And the problem is, if you give LSU multiple possessions consecutively where you're not scoring and you give them the opportunity to build a lead, that's what's gotten teams in a hole, and then you're trying to dig your way out of it, and that's just not a good recipe. So, let's see. Keith Dartis, Stephen Ruckman, good morning. Steve Smith, Brandon, we only have played Georgia and Tennessee in the title game. Georgia 5 times, Tennessee 3. 01 Tennessee, 03 Georgia, 5 Georgia, 7 Tennessee, 11 Georgia. 5 times. I didn't miss one, did I? 1. Yeah, you have it 8. Yeah, LSU hadn't been 8 times. It was 01, 03, 05, 07, 11, and this is only LSU 6 time. Hey, let's see. Sheila Strickland, good morning. Nate Bumstead. Marquise Robinson, do you think Devontae Lee should move to safety? Ed Ogeron mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago that they talked to some receivers about moving to defensive back. He didn't want to name him. That might have been, I would imagine that is one of the guys they talked to, obviously because he played safety in high school as well. But if you want to stay on the offensive side of the ball, you can't make the guy move. But if he's willing to wait his turn, wait your turn. Garrett McIntyre, on a positive note, LSU's future at running back is stacked, has some serious talent at the position. For true. Ty Davis-Price and John Emery. We'll see what happens with Chris Curry if he sticks around. But he ran hard last night. Fresh legs are a fun thing to see. And then they're getting the 5-star Zach Evans out of Georgia, so you should have at least three really good running backs next year. Clayton Wolf, Jonathan Tillman. Look what happened when the committee dropped them from 1. They dropped 50 on A&M and only gave up 7. LSU's feeding off the disrespect. I think, Jonathan, there's definitely something to that. I think this was a perfect storm where LSU came into this week already. They had this game circled for a year after what happened last year with the A&M game when they felt like they won it 4 times, and then everything that happened post-game. And there's no doubt that LSU was super motivated for this game to begin with. And then you throw on top of it the committee dropping LSU from 1 to 2 and essentially pointing at the defense and saying, you're the reason. I think they took that personally, man. I think they went out and played focused and played fast. And y'all, when you look at LSU's defense, Rashard Lawrence, Caleb Von Chasson, Derek Stingley, Christian Fulton, Grant Delpit, Jacob Phillips, all of these guys are top 50 picks in the NFL draft. Like, they got great frontline talent. Depth has been a problem, and focus at times has been a problem. And some of that's trying to play a complementary style to this offense, which I totally understand. But, man, when they zero in and play their best, it's been impressive when they've played their best this year. And last night was an example of it for sure. Brian Arsenault, Ryan Broussard, what's up? Stephen Bro, Brian Ashcraft, Chase on the year averaged 20 yards a clip. That's dumb. That is dumb. Brandon LeBlanc, Klatt's love for Ohio State could be worse than Danielson's passion for Alabama. Jeez. Aaron Bertrand, Robert Pierre, UCBO, what's up, man? Brian Ashcraft, waiting on Paul to make a case for this Alabama team to be the first 2-loss team to make the playoff. Y'all got to stop, bro. Like, y'all know if y'all are coming here with that noise, like, you're just at the wrong spot. So go find someone who is a drumbeat homer and wants to play into that angle of fanboy nonsense. It's just, like, when Alabama stunk, when Mike DeBose was there and Dennis Francione, Paul Feinbaum wasn't stumping for Alabama to get anywhere. The guy went to Tennessee. Paul Feinbaum's from New York who went to Tennessee. Like, they'll think he's an Alabama fan. Whatever. Craig Polk, Joseph Roy, what's up? Mike Hutches. We lose a lot, but it doesn't seem the cupboard is bare. Mike, there's no doubt, man. LSU's recruited well. There's no doubt. You got talent, but when you have that much turnover, it's unrealistic to think you're not going to have some type of a drop-off. Brad Tyson, season of a lifetime. For sure, man. Cortland Jacob, Matt wanted to ask you tried Old Forester whiskey. Yeah. Which one? I mean, this is the 1920 Prohibition style. But, I mean, they got a bunch of different releases, though. Which one? They're all. I mean, I think they're all good. Jeremy Hoskins. What our defense did last night was great. A&M averages over 400 yards a game. Their losses were from top 15 ranked teams. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing LSU had to do last night was impress from the eye test. And I'll tell you what. And during the game, Sean McDonough, if you were watching on TV, Sean McDonough in the first part of the first quarter said, I don't think there's anything LSU can do tonight to impress the committee or that can change the committee's mind considering what Ohio State did. Well, LSU gets up 28-0. He said, did I say there was nothing they could do? And then he referenced it again at the end of the game. Like, was this enough? And if you're the committee, you got to look long and hard, man. I mean, after what LSU did last night in this game, if nothing else, it's put you on alert for next week. Don't forget pick six Jared. Sorry, trivia. I've tried to forget the 08 season, man. That was, whew. But it is good perspective, right? Jennifer Allen, I've enjoyed every second of the season. If you told me 2 years ago we'd be 12-0 with a Heisman quarterback, I'd never believed it. Jennifer, you, me, anybody. It's just, it's not something that, it's so hard to unknow something. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to remember the perspective of something that you had before it happened. And while you're living this in your, like, I say this all the time with Saints fans too. Like, the Saints went from 1967 to 1991 without winning the division. And then again from 91 to 2000. From 1967 to 2000, really 2005, they won the division twice. Sean Payton's won it 6 times. Like, we forget how bad it was for so long while you're living in the good times. It's very hard to remember how bad things were. And it's in part, you want to live in the moment and enjoy it, but also appreciate it because of where you've been. And when Burrow leaves, you may never get another Joe Burrow. Like, understand, the SEC may never have another Joe Burrow. The dude, by the time this is over, and hopefully they play 3 more games, he's going to play at least 2. He's going to put the passing record, a passing record which stood for 20 years, which was set in 11 games. He's going to put a passing record so far out of reach that it may stand for decades. Like, Burrow's going to throw for 5,000 yards. Joe Burrow is going to do what all those, like, Hawaii quarterbacks do, or did under June Jones. Like, that's the kind of season he's having, without throwing the ball 70 times a game. Dennis Morrell. Grass quality ideas switch to LEDs like Bama. They could use the lights, the right color spectrum to grow it properly. I don't think that matters. I think photosynthesis, like, you need the actual sunlight. But I think you're joking. Craig Dugas, fire Rand. Keith Thardis, good morning. Pete Giardino, 7 points, totally unacceptable. Jean-Paul Thibodeau, Aranda can only do so much. He can build a plan, cannot make the players execute it. No doubt, but listen, when you sign, and this is fair, when you sign the contract Dave Aranda did, you are going to have culpability when the defense struggles. And this, for the most part this year, the defense has not lived up to the expectation it has set for itself. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's depth, there's injuries, there certainly is the complementary style of defense you're playing to this style of offense when you're just on the field more. All of that is very true. But when this team has needed to get stops, they've gotten stops. And when they needed to be dominant, like they were yesterday, they were. Georgia's going to play us like we used to play everyone when Miles was here. That's true. And I just don't think this is the Georgia team to do that and win. Seth DeVille, and the difference too, though, Brandon, all of those Les Miles teams still had great receivers. You still had Brandon LaFell and Terrence Tolliver and Demetrius Byrd and Ruben Randall and Jarvis and Odell. I mean, you still had NFL receivers that when you wanted to spin it, you had guys that could go get open. This Georgia team don't have that. That's the big difference. Tony Vaughn, LSU 45-17 over Georgia. I'd love to see that, man. If they go beat Georgia 45-17, they go beat Georgia like that, they beat the committee's number 4 team like that, they'll be the number 1 team in the playoff. Garen Thomas also seems like we always get to the Dome for the championship. Well, it's happened. 03, 07, 11, and then this year it's in the Superdome again. They missed that cycle in 15, though, unfortunately. I thought we have been more times than 8. I miscounted badly, but I'm correct. We've only played it's Brand. Oh, for the SC championship? Yeah, so again, 01 was the first year against Tennessee. 03 Georgia, 05 Georgia, 07 Tennessee, 11 Georgia. So this is only LSU's 6th time. The previous 5 they played Georgia 3 times and Tennessee twice. So this will be the 4th time they played Georgia. A.J. Holland, still a good amount of people in the stands at the end of the game. I believe it. Coos, what's up? Seth DeVille, good morning. How about a historical season? Incredible. By the way, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. They're tagged in this post. I know we have a lot of new people who watch live on weekends, especially after game days. So really appreciate Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic for sponsoring Morning Scone for all these many, many months. So if you could like their page, that's a huge help. If you need an orthopedist, of course, go see the best. Go see our friends at Brock. A.J. Holland, Curry 3rd on the depth chart. Emery's fourth. He's getting redshirted. Emery's not fourth. Emery was third on the depth chart. He went in ahead of Chris Curry this year, which makes me wonder if Curry's back next year. And you're not redshirting John Emery because John Emery's not staying for 5 years. So there's no sense in redshirting a guy that's not going to stay 5 years in school. When LSU wins by 30, I will remind you. Heck, man, I hope so. Would you say 47-17? So here's what you do, John Paul. Screenshot it and then send it to me later. Okay? Please, that's the thing. People always say, hey, do you remember when I said, honestly? No, I don't. I probably read 1,000 tweets a day, do morning Scone every day with all these comments, radio show, email, Facebook comments. I get, just literally, because I love to interact. If you send me a comment, I'm going to read, I'm going to interact, I'm going to reply. Thousands a day. I don't remember. People, do you remember when I called your radio show back in 2010? No, I don't. Sorry. I don't remember that. It's not, I don't remember what I did on the show Friday. But anyway, but screenshot it and remind me, and I'll give you a shout out. I'll happily do that if you nail it. The flip side of it, though, is there's a lot of people who make those bold predictions, like Stingley's going to return 2 punts for a touchdown, book it. Remember I said this, and then it doesn't happen, and then they vanish. Anyway, predictions are stupid. Predictions are just not worth doing. Bet money. That's what I say. You want to be bold. Don't make a prediction on Facebook. Go to a sports book and bet money. You think they're going to win by 30? Bet money. And I'll be like, oh man, you thought they were going to win by 30. Shane Pellerin, what's up, man? 3 more games to show out. I totally expect them to show out. I hope so, David. Let's see. Mark Demolin, good morning. Tony Town, Kevin Toller, good morning. Oh, Charlie, how about the Saints in attendance last night? Taysom Hill sat in there. So there you go. Taysom Hill was there. Mike Thomas was there. Will Lutz. Cool to see those guys come out for sure. I guess you got a lot of that part of that's Ohio State connection with Burrow. Tom Brouillard, good morning. Kirk, there were people on the ESPN National Radio last night. I listened to them on the way to work. They were actually trying to formulate a case for 10-2 Bama to get in if Wisconsin, Oregon, and Oklahoma all lost. Well, not Oregon, Utah. And then, because then you would go to the best 2-loss team, and I think they would be in the conversation. But I think you'd probably have a 2-loss conference champion that would get in over 2-loss Bama if it went down to that. Amy Crane, good morning. I'd love to see the Saints pick Burrow. Yeah, Charlie, Burrow ain't going to be on the board when the Saints pick, bro. Brian Arsenault, great season, great game. O-line last night allowed too much pressure. 4 sacks. I'll maintain that I thought the offensive line actually did an awesome job of picking up the blitz. They stonewalled some of that pressure. I thought Sadiq Charles was awesome yesterday. The pressure that came end of the second quarter, start of the third, was more an adjustment that Mike Elko made, where they stopped bringing pressure and they were playing coverage and kind of got coverage sacks at that point. It wasn't like they were bringing 8. When they were bringing 8, that's when they were torching them early in the game. So, Robert Broussard, good morning. Klatt finally conceded via tweet he's voting Joe for Heisman, proof in the pudding. I don't know if Joel Klatt has a Heisman vote. I think he was just saying, I saw Joel Klatt's tweet where it was just like, LSU's offense is special, Burrow's great. After Dad's show, Daddy and Drew will go to Albertsons. Joel Klatt quote tweeted the Joe Burrow jersey, said, "Kid gets it, very cool, and reason 1 million, blah, 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 why college football is experienced." Oh, he put his Heisman list: Burrow, Big Gap, Fields, Young, Hurts, Taylor, Dobbins, Huntley, Lawrence, Simmons, Hubbard. I don't know if he has a vote, though. But I guess this was complete enough. Let's see. What you doing, bud? Huh? You say hi, Dad show? Can you say hi? Can you say hi? After Dad's show, Daddy and Drew will go for a ride in Daddy's car. To and see Christy. Yep, you got it. Okay. After Dad's show, Mimi and Papa and JJ, Jeff, Olivia, Sophia, Roro, James, Eli, Reese. Let me hold you. Okay. Let me see. Okay. After Dad's show, we will go to Albertsons. This is all the kid wants to do. He is just aching to go to the store. Just wants to go walk around. All right. Let's see. Ronnie Dugas, what's up? Nils Breckhoff, what's up, Nils? Heath Savoy, Todd Termini. What a great kid to come to LSU and flourish under this new offense. Do you think Brennan can pick up, be a good quarterback? Todd, I do. The pass Brennan threw to Racy McMath for the touchdown yesterday was a dart. Brennan's got a great arm, and I think this system fits him and what he does well. The thing is, for anyone who criticizes Brennan from the limited action, keep in mind when he's in the game, he's throwing to Derek Dillon and Racy McMath, Palmer. Like he's in there with all the backups. He's handing off to John Emery or Chris Curry. Like let me see Miles Brennan in the game with Jefferson, Chase, Marshall, Moss, Clyde. Like okay, Donald. Donald.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. Okay. So Todd, yes, I do think Brennan can be good in this offense. I don't think there's any doubt he can be good in this offense. I think this is the offense similar to what he ran at Stanislaus. No huddle, spread him out, sling it around. Yeah, I think he could be good in this offense. Dustin Roussel, Jordan Mumphrey, good morning. Brandon, I bet if LSU... Brandon, I bet if LSU installed LEDs, they'd work as good as the speakers in the stadium. Y'all gotta understand, man. When you got a stadium that's 100 years old and has been added on to many times, it is very difficult to make the acoustics of that stadium work to where all 102,000 people are going to hear clearly. It's just... It's the same reason why you can't fix traffic at LSU. Because the campus has a river on one side of it. You can't get out that way. Like, there aren't enough art. Like, they keep adding to the stadium, the structure, inviting more people, and there's no way to build infrastructure out. Anyway. Wayne, booked my flight to Atlanta. Can't wait to rep the purple and gold. I'll be there. We'll be doing AFR on Friday. All of our shows, as a matter of fact, from the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta on Friday, and then Eagle Game Day with yours truly and Charles Handlegriff Saturday from SEC Fan Fest. Rocky Rock? Okay. Rocky Rock. Adrian Jean. Officials ejected ULL cheerleader from the game last night. We'll have to start the first half of the Sun Belt Championship without our best cheerleader. What? Robert Gremia, 1 year LSU won 8 games, and one of my employees told me LSU sucked. He was 20-ish. I told him to Google Curly Holman. Will the rings and cups be engraved with 50-7? I don't think LSU is really going to revel in this the way A&M did their 7 overtime. But when you haven't won a championship since the 1930s, a national championship since the 1930s, or a conference championship since 1998, it can be tough to find things to hang your hat on. Johnny Clark, what's up? Brandon LeBlanc, what about the tightrope Brennan throw to McMath? It's beautiful. And McMath spun, big physical guy, man, spun, and there was nobody home, and then it was foot race. I was so glad they scored that last touchdown too.
Oh, yeah.
Lewis Bergeron on a win next week. There's no way LSU is not number one. I'm not sure I agree with that, Lewis. If Ohio State goes out and blows the doors off Wisconsin, who after their win against Minnesota yesterday is going to move up into the top 10 because I think Minnesota drops out. I think Wisconsin could be right there at 10. Excuse me, they'll be right there at 10, if not higher. Is that so funny? The daddy had to clear his throat. Is that so funny? Goofy child. I love you. Bruce Parker, what's up? Daniel Lewis, Rusty Sedetol. Trenton Morales, do you think the score is satisfactory for Russ Mitchell? I don't think so. Russ was texting me during the game, like, all caps. Score, 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 pass. What are you doing? Pass, pass. Trivia. I got a new job. When I meet my supervisor, it was after they lost Tua for the year. I'm standing there with LSU apparel. He didn't like that. Then I was talking smack after he said they would see us in the playoffs. And I said, you won't beat Auburn. And bet time off tomorrow, so he'll be pissed. That's very good. Very heady. Crazy kid. John Paul, I'll own it if I'm wrong. But see, here's the thing, though, John Paul. It's one of those things where, like, even if LSU wins, but let's say they win by 10, like, you own it, but you're still happy because they win, so it's a hedge. It's just, anyway. It's just what predictions are dumb. They're just, whatever. Whitney Bro, stay till the end of every game this season. Snapping a photo at 12-0 for the second time was worth it. Yep, I did that in 2011. That is cool to do. So good for you. It's a cool moment. Kevin told Matt, if somehow LSU drops the championship game, do the Tigers still get in? Yes, Kevin. I don't see... I think if LSU loses the conference championship game, they're still in along with one-loss SEC champ Georgia. I think that is the only way that you get two SEC teams in. And in that instance, if LSU loses to Georgia, I think you have 1 Ohio State, 2 Clemson, 3 Georgia, 4 LSU. I think that's how it goes. Excuse me. Brad Crowder, what's up? Chad DiGirolamo. We did this yesterday, Chad, and you never told me phonetically how to say it. DiGirolamo. Chad DiGirolamo. That's what I'm going with. Oh, it said, morning, Scone. You were close to my name yesterday. Do you think LSU will jump back to number 1 this week? Not this week, Chad. They need an unimpressive Ohio State game against Wisconsin and to blow the doors off of Georgia. If that happens, I think LSU goes back to 1. Jordan Mumford, if you have the ability to redshirt a player, why not do it? Is there a limit how many players you can redshirt? No limit on the number of players. But Jordan, the flip side of that is, again, if you know a kid is not staying 5 years, and you know this in the recruiting process, you're not keeping John Emery on a college campus for 5 years. That's not happening. So it's better for you to get 10 plays out of him than not play him and redshirt him, because he's not going to stay 5 years. This is what they did with Michael Brockers. That Michael Brockers is the test case. He signed in 2009, redshirted. Played sparingly in 2010 as a backup, as a redshirt freshman. Then in 2011, he started and became the 15th overall pick in the draft. You got 1 season out of Michael Brockers. And that's when Les, if you remember, that's when Les basically said, forget it, we're going to start playing freshmen. And LSU started. Do you remember this? LSU started touting this thing where you can come play as a freshman, and more freshmen played than anybody. And LSU also started pitching and recruiting. We'll get you to the league in 3 years. And then what happened as a result is they had that series of several years where they had this massive exodus of double-digit guys early to the pros, and it gutted LSU's depth. I mean, that's what happened in that 14-15 lull in there. And they needed to build that back up. And really, a guy like Lyle Collins staying stopped that bleeding. Steven Scheck-Snyder, Robert Broussard, Brian K-Spawn, Marquis Saints should draft the Duvernay kid from Texas, the wide receiver. He's a beast. Jacob Hawks, Duvernay's good. I think there'll be plenty of options though. Can we get another rant about Mike? Mike Oresco. Marquise Robinson, Kelvin Joseph has to be kicking himself right now. Kelvin Joseph transferred because he went the same path as Michael Divinity and Sadiq Charles. He was going to have to sit half the season, and instead of doing that, he left. And he also felt like he was treated unfairly by compliance in the manner in which he was tested, like they were trying to get him. And so he was upset about that and left. It's one of the things people rail on about LSU compliance is the way they've handled some of those situations, and I hope they're working to rectify it. Josh Jones, love seeing Neil Farrell do Cam Jordan's sack celebration in the fourth quarter safety. I love seeing that safety in the fourth quarter to get to 50. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. Seeing that 50, I was like, And by the way, that was James Foster, the quarterback who committed to A&M over LSU, the kid from Mobile. Brady Beacom, what's up? Brian Stock, Scone, how incredible is 12-0 for this team? Big picture perspective, please. Brian, it's how we started today, man. Only the third time in the poll era that LSU's gone undefeated in the regular season. 1958, 2011, and now 2019. You have to go back to 1908 before you had a previously undefeated LSU season. So 1908 to 1958 was 50 years. 58 to 2011 was 53 years. And then now just 8 years in between, which maybe makes it seem like it's less rare. It's less rare. But what LSU did, especially in this day and age, in this conference, to polish off an undefeated season is incredible. I mean, you realize in all of Nick Saban's won 6 national titles. He's only had an undefeated season in one of those. He's only finished the season undefeated one time. 2009, that's it. Every other season he's had a loss when he's won the national title. It's a very hard thing to do. So enjoy it, because you never know when or if it'll happen again. Kyle Gallo. After last night's whiskey and wine, it's safe to say the Matt triggerless bunting, midweek game, shopping cart jerks, and now the playoff committee. Oh, Kyle, if you didn't know that about the playoff committee already, I did that rant yesterday on Eagle Game Day. I did it on Riot Podcast with Terrio a few weeks back. I republished that earlier this week, which is still, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can go still see that rant, which was even more epic than the whiskey and wine rant. Ronnie Dugard, no more TV on Fast Forward. He does. He still watches like that. We call it Fast Daddy. He watch that. He'll watch AFR on Fast Forward. Brandon Atchison. My favorite part about last night, as far as gameplay, was defense getting 3 interceptions. We've dropped so many this year. If we could have 25 on, we could have 25 on the season. Yeah. I don't know about 25, but there have been a lot of drops. Delpit even dropped one last night.
What?
Delpit dropped one, but he got one. Delpit got one. Stevens got one on the 4th down play, which he should have dropped. It cost him about 20 yards in field position. But how do you tell a kid not to take in the pick? And then even Kerry Vincent got one late. I'll go through some of the. We haven't talked much about the game itself. I'll go through some of the other stuff I had. Mentioned Chasson sacks. Damone Clark got a sack in the game last night. I love the 78-yarder to Chase. Beautiful play. Beautiful dime that Joe Burrow dropped. As far as the bad, Adrian McGee gave up a sack in the first half, which was disappointing. But other than that, Christian Fulton, I thought, played a great game. They called him for PI on 3rd and 12 on the first possession of the second half. But then after that first down, A&M had another 3rd and 12 on the same possession. And Fulton came up with the pass breakup. So I thought they completely stayed away from Derek Stingley and targeted Fulton. I thought Fulton was awesome. Hated the illegal block on 31. Lewis on the punt return, which moved LSU back to their own 7-yard line. LSU continues to just be non-existent in the return game. They actually last night let Clyde Edwards-Helaire return a kickoff. I asked Ogeron this week, why they fair catch every kickoff, and he basically he gave a standard pat answer. But Clyde returned a kickoff, 4:06 mark of the third quarter, and he only got to the 15. So it probably is a good explanation why they don't. Oh man, I thought Jacoby Stevens had a beautiful play. It was a 2nd and 10, first possession of the fourth quarter, coming off right edge. He was blitzing. He recognized Mon was setting up a screen. He dropped back and deflected the ball. It was a beautiful play. But Rashard Lawrence lined up offsides on that play anyway. And then they called the personal foul on 8. Queen, whenever he had the guy on the sideline, he tackled him by his helmet. So that was a drive where you just look at some of this stuff where, and you know what? That was the drive that continued because of the fake punt. Man, that little chunk right there. LSU's up 41-7 after Jamar Chase caught the touchdown, which was the record breaker or the tire for record tying touchdown for Burrow. On the next drive, LSU forces a 3-and-out. Flott had the stop on that 3-and-out. They go to punt, and Braden Mann realized he had a clear path, so he faked it and goes. And then Rashard Lawrence was offsides. They had the personal foul on Patrick Queen, but ultimately LSU got the stop on the 4th and 31 when Stevens got the pick. So that's how that drive ended. And then Burrow came out for one play after that, threw the pass to Dillon and left. So got his ovation. And then Racey McMath caught a touchdown and ran like 50 yards, which was awesome. All right, Chris Owens, David Hawes. Really enjoy Whiskey and Wine from the patio. Feels like I'm hanging with y'all after the game. It's cool, man. Appreciate that, David. I've enjoyed it too. Instead of doing like the split screen thing, it's been fun to do it in person. Travis Badon, good morning. College game day will be in Atlanta. I saw that. That's cool. Do you think so? We'll have some of those guys no doubt on the show this week in advance of the game. Daniel Cass, do you think Jacoby Stevens leaves early? I think he's a guy that's got a decision to make for sure. And I have not heard anything. It feels like that should be about a coin flip. I'll be interested to see what his draft grade is. I'd love to see him come back because he could be a star next year. Tony Nicosia, Scott Champagne, good morning. Scott Dale Broussard, looking forward to seeing the A&M Cups for the first game next year, 50-7, printed on it. Let's see. Richie Burt, good morning. Brady Beacom, do you think LSU win the national championship? I do, Brady. Vegas lines have LSU as a 4-point underdog against Ohio State and 4.5-point underdog against Clemson. So Vegas would favor those two teams on a neutral field over LSU. I'm not so sold on that, especially if LSU ends up playing. Well, we'll see what happens in a semi, but LSU plays either of those teams in New Orleans. Billy Crochet, even with the loss, I don't see Bama dropping out of the top 10. Maybe not, Billy. It'll be interesting to see what the committee thinks, given no Tua. Is that an excuse to keep them in? Or is, by that logic, you say they're not the same team, so they drop them further? See? Chad, you seem to be an awesome dad. Drew's a lucky little boy. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate that, man. All blessings over here, man. Robin Debataz, Sean Kelly, good morning. Brandon Atchison, Clemson, Bama, Georgia all played A&M, and we're the only team that destroyed them. True. AJ Holland, I agree with Russ. Run, pass at the end of the game doesn't make Brennan look good either. Really just getting Brennan out there, just getting him work, Kelly O'Neill, hello. Jude Miller, what's up? Robert LeBlanc. It should go like that. LSU would have much better one-loss resume than Utah. Yes, and we're also assuming that Utah is going to beat Oregon, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Utah's going to beat Oregon. I'm curious what the line says. I think Oregon might win that game outright, which means Oklahoma would get the 4 seed, provided they beat Baylor next week. Bo Major, what's up? Hello. Go Tigers. I think we need to bring back the cheerleading uniform if we go to the ship. Oh, God. So Kelly O'Neal's brother, Ryan O'Neal, played at LSU for Saban. He had an oversized homemade cheerleading uniform, I don't know, for Halloween or something like that. And somewhere on the interwebs there are photographs of me wearing it to pay off a bet to Richard Condon that I lost in like 2008, 2009 maybe. And yeah, I don't think we're bringing that thing back out, Kelly. I think I've graduated from that type of tomfoolery. But the picture still exists somewhere. Matt Boyles, Jean-Paul Thibodeau, I agree predictions are dumb. I don't think Georgia has the offense to keep up. I know they don't. The line was -3.5, which is insulting. Credit their defense. Their offense is terrible. As South Carolina. The game was in a range, so we'll see. I mean, I think LSU will win and will cover. Winning by 30, I'd love to see it. I think they need to win by 30. If they do win by 30, they'll get back to number 1 in the country. Hey, Faye Foster, good morning. Chris Robert, Rhett McGrew, good morning. Brian Arsenault, what is Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and after next Saturday we'll all have in common? They'll all be owned by LSU with 2 wins against school in those states. Lenny Rodrigue, what's up? Neil, shout out to Mo Hampton. Mo did play well. Came up and had a big stick right at the line of scrimmage on his first play defensively. He ain't afraid of contact, man. I like that in the safety. Brandon Atchison, I feel this offense is better than 2011. Ain't no doubt. 2011 was dominant at the point of attack and could run football and had a bunch of running backs. But, boy, the ability that they just threw off of play action because people had to respect the run. This team can do whatever they want. Trivia, Nick Saban 0-7 at Auburn. It's crazy. Brian Arsenault, why does... That's not true. Because they won there 2 years... No, Auburn won there in 17, huh? 15? They won at Auburn in 15. Bama did, yeah? Yeah, Bama won at Auburn in 2015. He's not 0-7 there. Really? $13 was kick 6. Auburn beat Bama in 15 there? Hang on. Uh, 2015, I think Alabama won that game, bro. Yeah, Alabama won at Auburn in 2015 and won 29-13. Derrick Henry ran for 200 yards. Derrick Henry ran for 271 in that game. Yeah, he's won a jersey here before. Good job, bud. All right, let's see. Trivia Carter, Brian Arsenault. Sorry, y'all. James Halley, can't go wrong with Elmo Jingle Bells, but I want to go hide that toy. Every toy Drew has this time of year all sings and plays music and all. Another shout out to Brock, y'all. Come down the home stretch here. They're tagged in the post if you need an orthopedist. 5 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. They do all the subspecialties, even PT and the after hours clinic. Appreciate our friends over at Brock. The third down package, Brooks, Chasson, and Clark is impressive. I agree with that. Marcel Brooks continues to be impressive. Joseph Fuselier, Chasson played great. I think Caleb on Chasson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are the players that over the last month have made the most money. Chasson having the massive game against Bama, I think, shot him up draft boards. You started to see him in some first-round mock drafts. I think after last night, when he goes to the combine, he's going to test. He's going to be a freakish test combine guy. I would be very surprised if somebody didn't pull the trigger on him in round 1. He's one of those guys that could go to the combine with just freakish athleticism and teams fall in love with him. And he's putting enough on tape now. Wanda Eubanks, Brett Hires or Ayers. Whiskey and Wine is like Wayne's World for football. It's pretty good. Floyd Davis, what's up? Angela Perryman, Irfan Sayad, Ryan Swallow. Woke up at 1 a.m., couldn't sleep. Watch all of Whiskey and Wine. Didn't get to sleep till 3. One of the best ones. Love me some Whiskey and Wine. Appreciate that, man. Dave Peterson, what's up, man? Zach Pendarvis, what's going on, dude? Craig Sanamaw, Mike Davis. How far do you think Clyde is catapulted draft boards? Mike asked that to Mike Detillier yesterday. For those that heard this earlier, I apologize. But Mike said Clyde's gone. I think it sounds like they've already had that conversation, like the decision's been made. Mike has him as a second-round pick. Said he talked to one NFL owner that has him as a first-round pick. And a handful of teams have him as the top running back on their board. So Clyde will be a top 2-round pick, no doubt. He's going to go, and he should go. I mean, if you have that type of value right now for running backs, given what the shelf life of a running back is, you go when your stock is highest, and that makes sense. So Clyde's made a lot of money. Robert Williams, what's up? Michael Spazale, good morning. Mo Hampton's going to be a beast. I agree, man. And just wait to see him play baseball. David Mulkey, I think Baylor will be the 4 seed if they beat Oklahoma and Oregon wins. I agree with that completely, Dave. That's for sure. If Oregon beats Utah and Baylor beats Oklahoma, Baylor will be the 4 seed. I would love to see that. Oh, and then LSU is the one getting to play Baylor. Please. Saban is 0-7 against Auburn when Auburn is ranked. That makes sense. When both are ranked, that makes sense. Got it. Ryan Lewis, what's up? Jason Bourgeois, John Boudreau. You must play Elmo for bump music on AFR. I don't think anybody would get it, John. Just our crew here. Rhett McGrew, Dead Soxy, best socks ever. There you go, dude. Thanks, Rhett. I knew I recognized your name. You're the one who tweeted me the picture. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, no. So, by the way, if you're looking for a gift, go check out Dead Soxy. If you have someone who dresses up a lot like socks, like dress socks, Dead Soxy, SOXY. Promo code AFR19, get you a BOGO. And you can use the code an unlimited amount of times. It's only good for one item. So, like, if you go to deadsoxy.com, let's say you go get the purple and gold 4-pack, okay? Put that in your cart twice. Apply the promo code AFR19. It'll give you one free. Go check out. You want to go back and say you want to go get like the boardroom collection. Go get a 10-pack. Do it twice. You put it in your cart twice. Apply the code. They'll charge you for one. You'll see it. But AFR19 is the code for the BOGO at deadsoxy.com. Or you can use the promo code GEAUX, GEAUX, get 25% off. Charlie, what did you say? I just keep hearing 2 words and start humming Jingle Bells. Think about what it's like to live with it all day. It never stops. Phil Brady, Kevin Gilbert, what's up? Daniel Cass, I wonder why Emory didn't get reps. He's a better athlete than Curry. Emory did get in the game. Emory played last night. John Emory absolutely played last night. He played ahead of Curry. Russ Mitchell for Whiskey and Wine in Atlanta. John, if Russ is there, absolutely. I don't know if Russ is going to Atlanta. Russ lives in Arizona. He texted me yesterday. He's like, are you coming to Arizona? If LSU ends up playing in the semifinal in Arizona, we haven't determined that if we're going to do semis or any of that stuff. I'd love to, but we'll see. Mark Allen, Whiskey and Wine, need y'all together moving forward. No more split screen. We got to keep paying for these Ubers. My man Matty Ice, how sweet it is. What's up, Damon? Good morning, man. Richie Burt, when's Catholic High going to start a new locker room provided by Geis and Edwards Elaire? Bro, Richie, they don't need one, man. Ryan Jumanville, who's a Catholic High grad, donated the money for the June building, which is the athletic building attached to the gym, which is all new locker rooms, wrestling room, all the classrooms. He donated, I think probably it's got to be $1 million. So, point is, they don't need new locker rooms yet. Maybe another 10 years if they need an upgrade. Matthew Corley, Ryan Terrio, what's up, Mr. The Riot? Kelly Gross, Matt will be heading to Atlanta Friday morning. Can't wait for the weekend. Be awesome. Trivia, try Streamlabs for split screen. Good call, Trivia. I have. So Streamlabs and Restream. So Streamlabs for the split screen I've used. I've set up the account. I'm trying to figure out the split screen through Restream. So Restream allows me to take the stream I created, Streamlabs, and send it to 30 platforms. So if you want to watch on Facebook, it'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, LinkedIn, like any platform you want. This will send it all there. But I got to figure out how to build the split screen platform. So anyway, but yeah, good looking out. All right, y'all. Let's see. Brent Criswell, Matthew Corley, Cortland Jacob. My Georgia alum wife asked for Sugar Bowl tickets for Christmas. Good. Get them for her. Go to Sugar Bowl. Christmas in New Orleans? That's awesome. Or New Year's in New Orleans for Sugar Bowl? Come on. And stay another week and go to the national championship game with LSU. Melissa Grissom, Billy Brissett, great show last night. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, last one. I got to go take that kid to Albertsons. Mike Davis, do you think there's going to be a huge drop with Brennan at quarterback next year? Has he progressed enough? So I'll put it to you this way. Pat Inglade, good morning. To think there wouldn't be any drop when Joe Burrow is finishing literally the greatest season in the history of the Southeastern Conference. Like, let that sink in for a second, okay? Joe Burrow has thrown for more yards and will have thrown for more touchdowns than any quarterback in the history of the Southeastern Conference. I don't care who plays quarterback next year. There is going to be a drop-off. It would be impossible for there not to be some drop-off. With that said, do I think Miles Brennan can function in this offense? Absolutely. This is a similar offense to what he ran at St. Stanislaus. He sure looked comfortable throwing that dart last night to Racey McMath for a touchdown. And as I've said many times, I also want to see Miles Brennan when he's throwing to Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall and Thad Moss, and when he's handing off to Clyde, and obviously it's different when he goes in the ball game and he's throwing to Derek Dillon and Racey McMath, and he's handing off to Emery or Chris Curry. It's just let me see him with the starters in this offense and see how he functions. And we'll see that next year. I don't want to see him do it this year. I want to see Joe Burrow do it for 3 more games. But I think Miles Brennan will be all right, man. But that said, if you have a chance to bring in a grad transfer quarterback who wants to come in and compete for a job, if De'Aaron King from Houston says, hey, Coach O, I want to come in. I want to come compete for the job and play at LSU 1 year and try to start. Come on. Let De'Aaron King and Miles Brennan battle it out in camp. See who wins. Put yourself in a great situation. All right. Y'all have an awesome day. Appreciate y'all watching. Go Tigers. Enjoy your Sunday. Shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. We appreciate them greatly, as always, for sponsoring Morning Scone. They're tagged in the post. Please like their page and share this post. Y'all have a great Sunday. See ya.